Hey guys, what is up? How are yous? I've had some interesting news in the last week, and I just wanted to put it out there and let you know where I am with it, and yeah, how I feel about it, and what I'm learning since. So just to bring up the speed, like I have got a diagnosis of cancer. A few days ago, and your Valentine's Day, actually, February 14th, happy Valentine's Day. And I've elected to record my experience, just because of the prognosis and the forecast of what's about to happen and where I'm at now. And I just wanted to, I'm not sure what value this is going to be, but it might just be value for myself in the future and having a look back, but certainly right now it may have some value. So just I'm staying at my mum and dad's place, just to fit on the story. I've elected to come over here and spend some time with them because my dad's got dementia, and mum's kind of getting a bit aged, and they kind of needed a bit of a hand. So taking advantage of my girl Denise having time off, me being in between flight contracts with the helicopters, and yeah, and looking forward into 2018. I've gone through Christmas and stuff like that. We had a bunch of hiccups. We had hiccups in the way of my computer broke, and I haven't been able to repair it and work it out, which has kind of held up my online business a bit, and also just communications and stuff. So I haven't been able to communicate with a few people as effective as I'd like to, and do my business as well. So what's also happened is the car that I bought, the Jeep that I bought when we got to Australia, effectively shit itself. So basically bought the car for $5,000, and now they want $7,000 to fix it. So I was actually on my way to an event up north, and where it shit itself 20 k's out of town. So I was left without a car. Computer went bing. And during this process, I had a bit of a lump in my groin, and I then kind of got some, after a couple of weeks, I was wondering what that might be about. I then got symptoms of what I thought was like prostatitis, and anyone who's had anything to do with prostatitis, basically it's when you get a UTI or a urinary tract infection, and it gets up your urethra way, and it makes its way to your prostate. Now, in a guy that's, it's uncomfortable. It's some people alert it to prostate cancer and stuff like that. But generally speaking, it's just an infection of the prostate, and it gives you, a bit of dysfunction in your willy and stuff, and it gives you a few aches and pains, and even makes going to the toilet a bit interesting. So I went to get treated for that, and while I'm in there, I said, hey, I've got this lump in my groin. What do you think? And basically, after 3 different trips into the doctors about that, it was until the 3rd doctor that said, actually, I don't like this thing in your groin. Where other doctors were going, you can have a lymph gland up in your groin for 6 months. So with my other symptoms, my other doctor's gone, no, I want to get a biopsy of that thing. So he did so, and in doing so, he found what's called squamous cell carcinoma, which is a skin cancer. So it's a carcinogenic skin cancer cell that was in my lymph gland, and when they did the biopsy of my lymph gland, they also found lots of infection. So I was picking up that cell and some infection somewhere in my body. So one thing led to another. The doctors, my GP ended up calling up an oncologist mate of his, and I ended up this is just recently this all happened very quickly last Valentine's Day, where I get the PET scan in the morning, and then I get rushed into a doctor you can't see for months, and they want to see me straight away. And I see him, and he gives me the news that I've basically got 3 tumours, and 3 tumours, 2 in my anus. Well, it could be 4 tumours, I'm not real sure at the moment, but trying to get all the detail. But another one on my hip that could be the same one of the ones that's in my anus anyway, and the other one in my groin. as well. It's actually not a lymph gland, it's a tumour. So straight away they got me in for another biopsy of the ones inside my anus, and I'm still waiting for that to come out this week. So they've just set me up straight away though, like today's Sunday. Tomorrow being Monday, I'm up to the hospital, and plus that biopsy, they did that biopsy of my ass, and they cut a big piece out. That hasn't been fun, because now anytime going to the toilet, it's just like shitting knives. It's not fun. There's a bit of blood there, and it's a bit of pain. So I'm just cracking drugs down each day just to minimise that. Otherwise, I'm feeling pretty good. And so, tomorrow the game starts. I am in hospital for the pre-admission stuff. And then Tuesday I've got to go in. They're telling me and get, what's it called? Anyway, it's like a colostomy bag. It's a foam or something. Anyway, they want to start diverting any of my poo and shit away from my anus, because they're forecasting now that I'm going to be having chemo every day for the next 6 weeks, and that things are going to get a bit ugly down there, and because they have to hit it really, really hard. So that's kind of the news up to date as far as the mechanics go. What's going on with me? How do I feel personally? It's a little bit rocky. Things are hard to kind of just sink in. So but I'm pretty pragmatic. It's just like, okay, this is what I've got to deal with. Let's go. What I found interesting is, it's one thing to get told that kind of information, and the doctors painted a pretty ugly situation. Like, if I don't get chemo, they basically will have to cut it all out, and I won't have an anus to shit out of for the rest of my life. And you can, I don't know, I can imagine what that might mean. That'll suck. You'll have a bag for the rest of your life, even if it's successful. And that, the guys are saying, oh, this is going to be, seriously one of the most awful things that could ever happen to you in the experience that's about to come, which I'm thinking, oh, thanks so much. So they're not glossing over with any ways and means. So it's one thing to get that information and to just kind of reconcile it. And then, of course, life is still going on. So it's actually been more difficult, more challenging and more emotional to relay that same information. So Denise, my partner, she's been with me during these contacts with the doctors. So she's fully aware, and she's a rock. So I'm very insanely grateful for her, because she allows me to articulate how I'm feeling, and let alone how it affects her is something that I'm aware of, and we're aware of together. But then, today I've got to get the balls to tell my mum, because I've got to tell my mum. I mean, I thought about not telling her, and maybe we could get away with it, but with this damn colostomy bag and being in chemo and all that sort of stuff, like I've been running around with this partial information, potential cancer thing for the last couple of weeks, and now it's just been slammed, and now there's the big rush with the surgeons and oncologists and stuff. It's just like, no, I have to tell her and my dad. So so that's difficult, because it's putting on more on their plate emotionally, and they're kind of overwhelmed emotionally where they're at anyway, with my disabled sister, dad getting dementia, them getting older, and everything that comes with that. The last thing they want is their, young, good-looking son to get a disease which is pretty nasty. So anyway, I'm having to face that. I'm having to face that with them today. And the other things that I'm trying to face is who do I tell? What I'm learning is cancer is actually quite a powerful word, let alone a disease. So when you start throwing the word cancer around, I feel like I have to do it responsibly. Just a couple of people in my tiny circle that I mentioned to, my sister and her husband Pete, we had a big chat yesterday, and it's emotional for them as well. And so it's just rallying together, but it's just recognising when you start having that conversation, it's like, wow, this has an impact on other people's lives, not just mine. So who do I tell? Do you tell your friends? There's people chasing me up for business. There's people chasing me up for friends. We were supposed to be on a plane to Mexico the other day, just on Saturday, to get over to a wedding. We're supposed to be kite surfing, and then I look to be flying up in Canada in the heli early in March. So. Or at the end of March, so it's like, what am I doing? So who do I tell, and does that affect my, I even look at stupid shit like, does that affect my employment opportunities later if I tell people I've got cancer? And Pete, my brother-in-law, if you like, he said to me, man, you got to forget all that shit and just you're fighting for your life here, so just focus on that, like nothing else really matters. So that seems super obvious. Didn't seem that obvious at the time, but it's like, okay, so who do I tell and how do I share this, if at all? And another mentor of mine, said, do this, record it. This might be of huge value to someone out there. You just never know. So yeah, that's kind of the story so far. So I don't know that I'd missed anything out, but I'm going to be putting these up daily. And just kind of documenting this story, and we'll see how it rolls. And yeah, I actually wrote a couple of questions down here just so I have some value here. And I think I've basically outlined that position. So anyway, waffling on. Yeah, I'm a young, fit, healthy man, and I get cancer. So be aware, people out there, it doesn't discriminate. They're suggesting this was from the HPV virus because it's a skin cancer. Anyway, I'm still I'm still dancing around the knowledge to know what's going on here yet. So anyway, thank you, and I hope there's some value here. And yeah, if you'd like to follow this experience, you're welcome to. And yeah, I look forward to any comments or feedback or whatever. But yeah, stay tuned, look after yourself, stay healthy. See you later. Hey, ta.